Well, good morning again. I guess I'm in a talkative mood today. So, sitting out here at my gazebo and listening to all the birds and animals coming to life as the sun's starting to come up. As you can tell, it's not as dark as earlier. Anyways, I'm gonna do this video, and I'm gonna get busy working. So, anyhow, we talked about the basics of securities. We talked about why to invest. Talked about a little bit about methods. There's a lot of detail there I haven't talked about yet, but different methods. Um, so before you can invest, you have to get some things set up. Um, you obviously have to have some money that you're going to invest with. How much? That's up to you. The more you have, the more you can make, so to speak, really. But anyways, it used to be you had to have a certain amount. Nowadays, from what I can gather, I think they've changed those type of things, or whatever you want to start off with, you start off with. One real advantage you have today versus when I first started looking at investing was it used to be when I started. Um, well, let's do a quick history lesson. Years ago, you couldn't just go online and invest. You had to go to a brokerage or have an account with them. Usually, you call them up on the phone. You would wire them some money into an account, and then you'd have to call a broker, and then you'd discuss with the broker. The broker usually tried to sell you something you probably really didn't need or want, but they sounded like they knew what they were talking about, and they usually, some did you well, some didn't. All right, so then all of a sudden along comes online brokerage, and that kind of killed the business model that the main brokerages have. So they all kind of followed suit. So now you know, all these different brokerages places have online accounts. And when I first started, when you traded, you would have to. They didn't charge a commission; they charged a fee. They always have a whizzy word, right? And so the fee, if I remember right, was like something like $5 a trade. But what that meant was if you bought stock, you had like say you buy 100 shares in a company, you had to pay $5. And when you sold those shares, you had to pay $5. So you had to factor in $10 of profit before you even started to really make money because you're paying this brokerage house the fees getting in, getting out. If you lost money, well, then you lost more money. If you made money, well, you'd have to make a lot. The stock had to realize a large gain before you'd really start seeing profit. So, long story short, life got in the way. I quit investing for a while. Now I started looking back at it again, and I was trying to look at the fee so I could put it into my spreadsheet and factor that in. And I couldn't find the fee. Couldn't find the fee. So I called my brokerage up and said, "Hey, what gives? Oh, we don't charge a fee anymore." That's a real plus, a very large plus. So what does that mean? Say you got $100 and you buy a stock that's worth $5 a share. If that stock goes up 10% that next day and you turn around and sell it, you keep the 10%. That's a pretty good deal. All right, so let's go back, rewind a little bit here. So to get set up, you need a brokerage account. I use Charles Schwab. I like their search tools, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't think nowadays they're probably all about the same. Do a little research of your own, figure out the one that sounds best for you, and use that. I'm not pitching one or the other. I don't get any money from Schwab for mentioning them. Um, I don't really remember now why I picked Schwab to begin with, but I think it was because of their search tool, and it was a class that I was taking, and the professor used it. So there you go. So what does that mean? You create an account. Well, you have to go online because you're trading public securities. They have to know who you are. So it's like setting up a bank account. That's really what it's like. So think of it like that. So you go online, you fill out all this, forms online, and part of that is you're going to link your bank account to your brokerage account. So that when you go into your brokerage account and you say, all right, I want to move, say, $1,000 from my checking account to my brokerage account, that's how you do it. And that doesn't happen instantaneously, so it's going to take a day or two, or whatever. It's usually about a day. but you're going to move that money once the accounts are linked into your brokerage account. Once that money's in your brokerage account, then you're free to buy stocks or bonds, mutual funds, whatever they're offering. So so you have that money sitting there, and you have your brokerage account, and so from there you're going to start searching for something to invest in. All right. On the next video, because I don't really have time to mess with it right now, is I'm gonna start walking you through looking at the charts, looking at the search tools. So what's the goal? I want to go back, rewind a little bit to when I talked about that professor, if you would, that taught the fundamental class. When he was investing, what he was looking for, remember I talked about you tried to find a company that you wanted to invest in, and then you tried to figure out, was it the right time to invest? Do you love all the animals? So what does that mean? Well, a stock goes up and it goes down for various reasons. It doesn't mean the company's bad or anything. It's just that's the way the market is. So anyhow, the investment clubs of America, one of the things they would look at, and it's one of the parameters you can look at when you look at a stock, is the 52-week high-low. So you're looking back at the track record of the past year, not calendar year, but the past 12 months, and you're looking at the highest high and the lowest low. Now, why would you do that? Well, if the investment clubs of America, I keep using that name, it maybe have meant something else, but whatever, right? But what they tried to do was they had indicators on their spreadsheet. If the stock was in the lower 1/3 range of the 52-week high-low, it was in the buy range. If it was in the middle third, that was the hold range. If the stock price was in the upper 1/3, that was in the sell range. All right, they didn't talk about shorting stocks; they just looked at going long. So this professor said when he did that, he made money, but he didn't make real good money. And it wasn't until instead of dividing it by 3, the 52-week, the margin of the 52-week high-low, instead of dividing it by 3 or thirds, he divided them by fourths. And he said that when he used that factor, so then what he did was the bottom fourth was the buy range, the second and third fourth, the middle, if you would, was the hold range, and the top fourth was the sell range. When he started using that as his way of measuring out when to buy, when to sell, when to hold, is when he started making really good money from his stock purchases. And we're going to kind of talk about the same kind of process, meaning, remember, if you want to make money with an investment, you want to buy low and sell high. Well, how do you know if it's low or high? You got to look at the track. You know, look at the trend. And so that's what you're going to be looking at. What's nice is if you're like me, staring at a spreadsheet of a bunch of numbers, kind of boring. Don't get too excited about it. And it takes a long time because you look at all these numbers and try to regurgitate what does it mean. What's nice today is everything on the computer is they have these charts, and the charts are real easy. I literally, we've got a 11-year-old in the house, and I was kind of giving her a little teaser of this information that I'm putting together on these videos, and so I asked her if she wanted to learn how to become rich. That got her attention, and so I showed her a chart, and I'll use the same one here later on when I do this. But just showing her the chart, an 11-year-old, I said, if you look at this, can you tell that this stock is a good buy? And she instantly looked and said, well, yeah. I mean, she could make that determination as an 11-year-old, and now she didn't know what the company did, didn't know what product they had, and that's the beauty of it is you really don't care. What you're looking for is the stock low, and is there a probability that it's going to go high? That's where the, I don't know, quote-unquote gambling factor, I guess, kicks in. So you have to use a little bit of reasoning, You have to have your thinking cap on. As you start doing this type of stuff, one of the things that becomes apparent to you is you need to start getting in tune with what's going on around the world, because these things influence the markets and they have an impact on, it should have an impact on your decision making on who and what to invest in. And it kind of goes back to, all right, why are you investing? And one of the things I didn't really cover very well during that video was, you have different reasons. For example, you might be looking as you want to make a quick profit. Okay, well, that's a different type of investment. Maybe you want to invest for retirement. Maybe you're in your 20s, and so what do you want? You want growth. Okay, that's a different type of investment, so a different parameter you're going to look for. Some of these stocks pay dividends, all right? And what that means is the company, instead of raising the value of the stock, they're going to pay out some of their profit to the stockholders, a dividend. And there's some people, I used to work with a guy who, that was his strategy, was he's been buying up stocks that pay dividends. He lets them ride up and down, up and down, up and down, but his whole thing is he's focused on the dividend because he wants to get enough stocks that are paying dividends that he has a steady income, being it quarterly or annually, however you want to look at it, of these dividends coming in. So see, again, the strategy of what you want to accomplish plays into the stock that, or whatever you're going to purchase for an investment. Hopefully this makes some sense. And I think, well, for now we'll stop there, and we'll pick up. The next thing we'll get into is starting to search through the charts and try to find something that you want to invest in, and to give you an idea of how to get going. So, but before you can invest, you have to have a brokerage account, and you have to go online, and you'll have to do your own thing as far as investing goes. But it's exciting, it's fun. You can't be emotional about it. If a stock goes down that you own, if you freak out and sell it, Wall Street banks on that, quite frankly, and they want you to lose. Sometimes they will manipulate the market and purposely drive a stock value down, hoping that you, as a novice investor, will panic and think, oh God, I got to get rid of this, and get rid of it. One way to look at it when a stock goes down is it's on sale. When you go down to, say you're over at Target or wherever you shop at, and you're in the market for a blouse, if the blouse is 25% lower, marked down from its normal price, do you run away from that? Or do you think, wow, I'm getting a deal? You'd probably think I'm getting a deal. Stock's the same way. If you own, say, 100 shares in a company and all of a sudden it drops 10% in value, if you really like that company and you really think it's going to gain in value, maybe they're hitting a little hiccup in the market or something, might be a good time to buy some more, because you can buy it cheaper and you'll make more gain on that percentage of the stock that you buy. So anyhow, food for thought. Talk to you soon. Take care.